on a mission to get these requests answered. So you may see me doing a couple videos a day. You may see me doing videos in the same outfit, but that's the reason I'm trying to get to your requests, and I'm trying to honor your requests, because to be honest, that's the heartbeat of this channel. And so I really do appreciate your requests. I appreciate your patience. So here we go with another good one. Aaron Willoughby requested Tommy The Duke Morrison versus Iron Mike Tyson. I'm sure I've done this video in the past. I've done so many of them that I can't keep track of all of them. But as I keep saying, even if I've done a certain video in the past, I want to do the fight and the fighters as much justice as possible. So the more boxing you watch, and as the years go by, you learn more, you see more, and you understand more. And so, Iron Mike Tyson versus Tommy The Duke Morrison, going out to Aaron Willoughby. Let's get into it. In my opinion, just my opinion, Tommy Morrison and Mike Tyson are pretty much the same fighter. The only difference is Tommy Morrison being just a little bigger. But both of these guys have great power, great left hooks, and devastating one-punch knockout power. Devastating one-punch knockout power. Translation: all they have to do is touch you once and it's over. All they have to do is hit you clean and you're out of there. So no matter how the fight is going up until the point to where either one of these guys touch you, once they hit you clean, that's it. That is it. So as a longtime boxing fan, I'm truly disappointed that this fight never took place. It's just one of those fights that should have happened, that was supposed to happen, and the stylistic matchup and the stylistic realities would have made this one of those fights for the ages. So if this fight would have taken place when it was supposed to, it's one of those fights that we will still be talking about till this day. Now, before I go into the breakdown and analysis, let me just say that the best fighters have the worst luck. It's life. It's boxing. It's just the way that it is, but it doesn't in any ways diminish what any fighter has contributed to the sport. With that being said, Mike Tyson and Tommy Morrison were amongst the best knockout powers with raw power in the history of the sport, which would have made this a tremendous fight. But both of these guys have had inconsistencies in their careers. And let me just say that the inconsistencies makes this fight all the more exciting, because it's one of those fights that you just never know what's going to happen. And really, the guy that wins this fight is the guy who lands first. And so it's one of those fights that will be on the edge of our seats. Now, let me just say this. This fight isn't going the distance. I'm sorry. No matter who wins, with that much power in one ring, it's just not going the distance. Now, the fight could last 8 rounds. It could last 10 rounds. It could go to the 12th round, or it could last 1 round. Do you get what I'm saying? Or not even 1 round. Someone's getting stopped in the first round. It's just one of those unpredictable fights. It's just one of those fights where you truly don't know what's going to happen or who's going to win. Now, one thing's for sure, this fight would have been on pay-per-view. And so you could pay good money for a good potential matchup and be disappointed that it ended in the first round, that it ended in the first or second round, or you could truly get your money's worth. And even if this fight would have ended early, you would have still gotten your money's worth, just for the simple fact that both of these guys were in the same ring. So going back to my point about whoever lands first will win, it's just that. Whoever would land first will win. It's just that simple. I'm going to say that don't look for a tactical fight. Don't look for a fight to where either guy is going to be taking his time, to where either guy is going to be patient. Both of these guys are going to come out blazing. They're going to come out swinging, and they're going to come out looking to hurt the other guy. Now, as I mentioned early in this video, I've done this fight before. I'm pretty sure I've done this fight before. And my analysis and prediction in this video could very well contradict what I said in the last video. It very well could, because the more you watch boxing and the more knowledge that you gain, you just see things differently. And that's the beautiful thing about boxing. It's such an unpredictable sport. It really is. And so I call this the classic battle of the left hooks. Now, with that being said, I feel that Tyson is quicker. I feel that Tyson could get to the target quicker. I feel that Tyson has the better footwork to get inside to do his damage. I feel that Tyson throws the better body punches. Tyson has great side-to-side head movement. Tyson is better at bobbing and weaving. Tommy The Duke Morrison is just as tough as Tyson. He has just as much heart as Tyson. And I think he has just as much power and hits just as hard as Tyson. Okay? And maybe he hits harder than Tyson. I haven't been in the ring with either one of them. I wouldn't want to be. But I can't emphasize enough that this is simply one of those fights that should have taken place. And I always joke and say that the boxing gods are judging the sport because certain fights just didn't take place. Lennox Lewis versus Riddick Bowe is one of those fights. Oscar De La Hoya and Felix Trinidad rematch is one of those fights. And I could go on and on. But this is definitely one of those fights that the fans should have been treated with. It really should have. Battle of the left hooks, battle of the power punchers, battle of the pressure fighters, and just battle of great fighters. These two fought in the same era, which is why it's beyond me why these two never faced each other. But I could go on and on. This is the sport of boxing where this sort of thing happens. And this is why we have fantasy fights. This is why we talk about what could have been, what should have been, and how great it could have been or should have been. And so this is one of those fights that we can speculate on. And sometimes the speculation is fun. It really is. I'm sure that fans of fantasy fights would definitely agree with me. Okay, so let's get to the point. With everything that I mentioned, who takes this one? Who takes it? So let's revisit the fact that both of these guys were devastating power punchers. Both of these guys had devastating left hooks. But what differentiates these guys is the fact that Tyson was better at getting on the inside. He had better footwork. He had better side-to-side head movement. And he went to the body more. Now, I think it comes down to chins. How would Tommy Morrison's chin hold up against Tyson? And I think we could revisit the Ray Mercer fight and get an idea about that. But on the other hand, when Tyson was met with any kind of controversy, when he was met with any kind of adversity, so to speak, when he was met with any kind of adversity, he just didn't seem to have a backup plan or a plan B. And one thing's for sure, unless Tyson can rush Tommy Morrison in the first round, get inside quickly, and hit him with something early, more than likely Tyson will be met with some sort of adversity. He really would be. And so once again, very unpredictable fight. And we can debate this all day. We can speculate all day. But at the end of the day, a decision will have to be made. So let's try the process of elimination. The fight is not going the distance, and the fight is not going to end up in the draw. And so with Tyson having the better footwork, head movement, He's definitely quicker than Morrison. I'm going to go with Tyson by second round knockout. First or second round knockout. And so I would really love to hear what you have to say about this fight. Help me out with this one, because it's just one of those ones that are hard to call. Those are my thoughts. Let me know what you think, and I will see you next time. Something that came to my remembrance that I want to share with you is the reason why I stopped liking Max Kellerman. And I'll name the two instances that made me have an issue with Max Kellerman. The first one, when Timothy Bradley fought Abreu. I forget his first name, but he fought a guy named Abreu. I think it was Thomas. Correct me if I'm wrong. But his last name was Abreu. And after that fight, in the post-fight interview, Timothy Bradley called out Manny Pacquiao. Timothy Bradley said, "Manny Pacquiao, I challenge you. Come break this wall down." Those were his exact words. And Max Kellerman rebuked him. He came down on him. He basically told Tim Bradley he had no business calling out Manny Pacquiao, and his focus needed to be on Devin Alexander. Well, first of all, you're just a commentator. You're in an official capacity. So who was he to dictate to Tim Bradley who he should be calling out and to fight? I just think that Max Kellerman overstepped there, okay? And he disrespected Tim Bradley. The second issue in Max Kellerman face-off, I think that's what it was called. I'm sure you'll correct me if I'm wrong. Boxing fans are the biggest fact checkers. And so, the second issue in the face-off series, when they were covering Bernard Hopkins versus John Pascal, the rematch, when Max Kellerman was taking sides in that interview, he was siding with Bernard Hopkins. He made it a point to disagree with anything that Jean Pascal said. Now, even if Jean Pascal says something that Max Kellerman disagreed with, he's in an official capacity to where you have to be impartial. You can't be biased and you can't take sides. It was just extremely unprofessional to me. Now, I liked Max Kellerman in the ESPN days before he came over to HBO. But when he came over to HBO, he became more biased. He became more partial to certain fighters, and he showed it during his commentary and during his interviews, which is totally inappropriate. Now, I'll be honest, I, as a fan and as a spectator, I can be as biased and partial as I want to be. But when you're in an official capacity, such as announcing and commentating, you can't be biased. You have to be professional. Let me give you an example. Now, suppose a referee decides to be biased and partial. He's going to get called on it. And he's going to face scrutiny because he's in a what? He's in an official capacity. Now, unfortunately, some referees are very sneaky with it sometimes, but those of us that's been watching the sport for a while can recognize it and see it for what it is. But on those two instances that I mentioned, the post-fight interview with Bradley and the face-off interview with Pascal and Bernard Hopkins when they were promoting their rematch, I think that Max Kellerman acted extremely inappropriately in those two instances. He really did. And those are the two things that made me dislike Max Kellerman. It's never my intent to disrespect anyone in the boxing community or in the boxing public, but sometimes we have to call these people out when they step outside of the bounds of what they're supposed to be doing. I would really love to hear your thoughts on this. If you like the channel, please share, promote, and subscribe. I would really appreciate it.